now we're back for part 2 of the Honda Chelly JDM 4 Mini CDM machine. I've got a whole bunch of parts from around the world. I'm trying to make a cool Chelly. Let's see what I've gotten up to since the last update. The swing arm is not on the bike. The swing arm is away getting repainted after the relocation of the brake stop arm mount. I've installed the carb spinner. The carb spinner is a little blue coloured one. It has a rubber O-ring underneath instead of a gasket. So we'll see how well this holds. Carb spinners are notorious for having air leaks, but it can be solved. You've just got to install them properly in the first place. The frame has actually been chopped here. There's been about 4 or 5 centimeters taken out here, and the same taken out here. If you have a standard Chelly, you can fit about 2 hand widths in this flat area here. Here I'm only able to fit 1. If you've got a Chelly at home and you're playing at home, you want to go see how much smaller is this frame, go hold your hand up and you'll see what I mean. I've added the kickstart and I've added the Honda cover, so this is what separates it from the rest. It's not just a live fan swap, it's a Honda swap. So this is my hub here. It's a 3-spoke hub. Why does this matter? Why is this different? Well, in New Zealand, all the Chellys we got were 4-spoke hubs. So this is a standard 4-spoke hub here from the 70s, and this is the 3-spoke hub that in New Zealand was not so common. This is also the width of a standard rim. The standard rim with a 3.5 by 10 inch tire. This is fairly skinny. If you hold it up compared to this one here, you can see the difference in size there. The skinny rim is about the same width as half of the 6.1 inch rim. You have to have a thick 10 inch tube, as wide as possible, and then you just inflate it to make the tyre fit. It's literally just a 2-piece rim. You've got your tube through on this side, so if we flip it upside down, we can try get this out. Right, so here we go. So 2 pieces over there, we've got our tube inside, so we'll just take the tube out. Now I haven't actually taken the valve completely out of this one, which isn't helping my troubles. Use this valve removal tool. Now we can work with this. I've just got a V-rubber 3.5 by 4 10 inch made in Thailand tube. They're fine. V-rubber tubes are great. They know what they're doing. They've been making tubes for years and years and years. Some people complain about cheap Thai tubes. I've never had an issue myself. Okay, now we're going to put our wider tire, our 110/80/10, into this 6.1 inch rim. And this one here had just been on this rim to expand a bit, so when I'm putting it on the front rim, it'll be a lot easier to do. So let's get rid of this one for now, and let's work with this beast here. Alright, so this is roughly in here now. You'll see these rims, they have a hole for the valve to come out. So I've got to situate that properly here. So basically I have to feed that through. You can actually see the split. It's crazy. So this thing has to inflate basically half the distance of what it actually is standard. Alright, so it's taken it to about 32 psi, which is pretty much perfect. 6.1 inch rim, 110/80/10 tire, as you can see, and it looks pretty damn awesome. We have a narrower top width than we do down at the base of the rim, so we do have stretch, which is pretty cool. Let's throw the front tire on, which is a bit more of an ordeal than this one. So some people have asked me, how the heck do you make these into a disc brake front end? Well, long story short, I did none of it. I bought this as a kit from Thailand. It involves a lot of effort to actually take the wheel off. I've got to take the axle off and the caliper off just to get the wheel off, and once the wheel's off, I've got to then take the disc off to get the caliper off, and then I've got to take the hub off the split rim, and then I've got to split the rim and take the tire off, and then do all of those procedures in reverse to then put this back on the actual bike. The caliper is actually taken off with the whole wheel, so you've got to physically unbolt the caliper. Now I've got to unbolt the disc itself, and once I've unbolted the disc, the caliper will be free, and then I can then remove the hub from the rest of the rim. What I'm replacing this tyre with is another Michelin, same style, S1 190/10, so 100 wide, the height is 90mm, and the diameter is 10 inches. here's the difference. Quite a lot. Front and rear. Rear being wide, front being skinnier. We should have a good opportunity to actually be able to turn this thing properly through a corner. And here we are, we're back. Finally, the swing arm is here. Yes! It's such a relief. I'm so excited because now it's all together. We just did the tyres. This is what a Michelin 110 8010 looks like on a 6.1 inch rim. In the last video, this was the part that was ground off. Now it has been sorted, it's back to normal, and I've got some awesome people to thank for that, namely Carl and Matt. Thank you so much to you two for helping me get this build humming along. So now I've got a side stand, the foot pegs have been attached. On the front we have a 190/10. So this actually has a higher profile based on the rim being thinner, which is 4.7 inches wide. If you measured the profile of the front and the rear tyre, they would be very similar. But because of this having a thinner rim, it means that it's actually sitting up higher, which is awesome. So I'm really, really excited. Here we go. So this is how close my knees are to the edge of the handlebars, but that's okay. Now the front disc works really well. We've got front suspension, which is hard to see with me pushing around like that, and on the rear we have a slight drop, so the height is actually a lot lower when I'm sitting on it than it looks. So I'm pretty stoked with this. The side stand does need to be a little bit shorter, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with how everything's turned out. Final update in this part of the video. We've finished the wiring. I've got a couple of other updates. Let's go have a look. First update we've got is this Mikuni fuel pump. We've got the fuel tank here, but the exit of the fuel tank is quite low. So we've got fuel coming in back here, we've got it coming out here, and then we've got a vacuum line that is tapped into the manifold down here, and basically it's sucking the fuel through all the way up into the carburetor, which is absolutely awesome. It works a treat. It's putting out a ton of fuel flow, and if you've got a Chelly and you've got an issue with your fuel supply, this is a really, really, really good upgrade. You don't have to get a Mikuni one. You can get a ton of little $50 or $60 fuel pumps. Make sure it's not a fuel tap, and make sure it's an actual fuel pump. I have a different clamp setup coming for my bars, so that'll be put on soon, which then my ignition can go straight into. But if we go on, you'll notice there's light in front of us. Let's go have a look. Look at this, we've got LED lighting on the front. This is a Honda CT90 or CT110 headlight bucket. This one actually came from a CT110. I'm pretty sure the 90s have a similar size. This can fit a 5¼ inch LED Daymaker headlight, which you can get from places like AliExpress. Don't chastise me, I'm only doing it for a couple of seconds. I know it's not the best idea, but I can't go through all of this and not let you guys hear how it sounds. Our switching here, I've got my kill switch up the top, horn down the bottom. These are on and off switches, so this is my right indicator, high and low beam, and my left indicator. So yeah, everything's perfect, all on this one switch block, and everything's absolutely sorted for me to use this bike as a daily rider. And there we go, I've got indicators front and rear, LED all round. I've got my tail light here. Let's throw that on. We've got a number plate light under the bottom. I'm really, really, really excited about this build. I'm going to be perfectly legal and completely safe out there on the road while I'm having an absolute blast. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll actually be riding this thing properly.